Welcome back, friends and family. Here we are for part 3 of the reading and use of English. Now, this part 3 is called word formation. And let's look at a few basic questions. How many questions are there? Now, there are 8 questions. How many texts do we need to read? We read one text. How many options can we choose from? Well, we don't have any options, but we are given a word that we need to use to answer the question. How many marks? 8 in total for this part, 1 for every correct answer. Now, this is an example of the part 3 word formation. Remember, you don't have any options, but they give you a word that you need to use in that space, in that gap. All right. So just checking to see if my mic is on. I believe it is. Very good. Great. So we're given a word. We need to use this word, change that word, but staying true to the base, using this word in the correct way in its context. So if you look at the example here, okay, now, okay, garlic. Maybe you can't see it. I'll read it for you. Garlic, a member of the Liliaceae family, which also includes onions, is used in cooking all around the world. Is commonly used. So you can see I use the word common and I add commonly. Okay. Alrighty then. So that is a quick example. You will do that with all the other words. Now, let's look at some tips and strategies. So you read through the text once and you try to answer the questions without stopping and spending any time thinking about a specific answer. Okay. In other words, if you can read through the text with the help of that and you can naturally answer it, then you do that. The first time you read through it, you try and naturally answer it. Okay. Later, when you're done reading, we will start again and we will look and verify to see if our answers are correct. Now, okay, read the text again. If there were any that you couldn't answer, please apply the strategies we've been using up to now. Look at the words before and after the gap. Try and understand what type of word you need. Is it a verb? And this is very important, extremely important. Okay. Now, I've got some wonderful, useful things for you later. So wait, give me 2 minutes and you'll see that. Okay. So spelling is important, and please remember to write in capital letters. Okay, so knowing the endings of words in English will greatly increase your chances of getting a better mark in this task. So, what we add to words, whether it's before or after a word, to the base of a word to change its meaning. Okay, these are called suffixes. Suffixes are letters that we add to the end of a word, and it changes their meaning. Okay, so you'll find negative prefixes too. Okay, so we're going to look at loads of them right now because knowing these things are very important. It's just extremely important. Okay, so suffixes, that's when we add, for example, ear to the end of a word. If you, for example, meaning, engaged in something, associated with something. Okay, so if you look at, for example, volunteer, auctioneer, engineer, profiteer, etc. These are ear we add to the end of the words, and it means to be engaged in something, associated with something. Now, ER, this is fairly easy. To drive is a verb, and the person who drives is a driver. A person who helps or anything that helps is a helper. Teacher is someone who performs an action. Okay, if I say write, then writer. So if they give you the word write, and you know it's someone, then you have to say writer. So ION, yon, the action or process of. Celebrate, celebration. Okay, so and now to decide, decision. So obviously I can go through all of these with you, but you already have them here. And if you don't want to look at these ones specifically, you can pause the screen right now and you can try to learn them. If not, go onto Google. This is where I found everything, on Google. Okay, you have the same access. Learn the noun suffixes. If you need a noun and you've got a word, you might need to add some of these endings. All right, so those were noun suffixes. Adjective suffixes. So you look at the gap and you understand that you need an adjective. And you've got a word. So you're going to have to change that word to have your adjective to get the correct answer. So how do I change that word? By adding any of these different variables, these suffixes. Again, you can pause the screen right now and you can learn them. Okay? Or you can go on to Google. These are for adjectives. If you need a verb or if you need an adverb, these are the suffixes that you need to add to that word in order to answer your question. Okay, because remember, you look at the words before and after the gap, and now you understand what type of word you need. Is it a verb? Is it a noun? Is it an adverb? Based on that, and based on the word that they give you, you change the verb, the word, and there you go. That answer will be correct. Okay, now be careful with negative prefixes. Okay, so normally in every, at least you normally get at least one in every test, okay, where they would want to use a negative one. All right, so now for example, words that take a as a negative prefix. So what did we look at before? Before we looked at suffixes. Suffixes go at the end of words. Now we're looking at pre. Pre is before, yeah? Prefixes. Okay, so they go before the word. So words that take a as a negative prefix always begin with a consonant. So now maybe you're asking, hey Jan, how do I know if I need to use a or this or ill or im or this? Well, this, you have everything in front of you. Here are some rules. Okay, for example, words that take a as a negative prefix always begin with a consonant. So if you look at, for example, political, apolitical. Okay, so theist, we would say atheist. So that's one little rule that can help you to remember that if you need the negative form of a word for that gap. Words that take this as a negative prefix may begin with a vowel or a consonant. Okay, so agree, disagree. Okay, comfort, discomfort. So again, you have all of this information here. I'm not going to read them to you. That's a waste of your time, but you can sit down and try to learn as many of these rules as you can. Okay, you can pause here. You can learn them. Oh, there's more. Yeah, you can pause here and learn them if you wish. Oh, there's more. Feel free to pause here and learn them if you wish. Okay, so now this is product. Okay, it got cut off there, but that is product. Okay, so let's look at some text here. Okay, so 0 is the example. We know it's commonly. Okay, is commonly used. Okay, so why commonly? We need an adverb, and that's why it's commonly. But that's the example. It doesn't matter. You don't get any points for 0. Now, okay. First of all, what type of word do you need? You need a verb, adverb, adjective, noun, and so on. Remember that. So let's count on. China is currently the largest of garlic, which is particularly associated with the dishes of Northern Asia and Southern Europe. So, what type of word do you need in 17? What type of word do you need in 18? Okay, you try to understand what type of word you need in those gaps. Take 10 more seconds. Okay, sorry. Okay, so now for 0, obviously, you need an adverb. So you convert common into its adverb, commonly. You add the suffix ly and you have the adverb. Commonly would be correct there. We know it's an example. Okay, for 17, you need a noun, the largest something of garlic. Okay, so now you need a noun. You need to convert product into its noun, but it has to perform an action. Okay, so now what do we add to a noun that performs action? If you go back to all the lists that we saw before, you will know that it is, what do you think it is? Okay, give you a second to think about that. Okay, 18, you need a noun. You need to convert ill into its noun. Moving on, let's look at the answers. Here you go. Commonly, adverb, product into its noun that performs an action, producer, producer. And you need a noun, convert ill into its noun, illness or illnesses. It has its own noun, illness. Okay, so that is how you would answer these questions. You look at what type of word you need. Okay, based on the suffix or the prefix or the suffix, you would adapt this word to best fit this context grammatically, obviously. Okay, and this is how you would answer part 3 of the reading and use of English. Now we're going to move on to part 4 right now, and I'll see you there.